Okay, welcome. We're just going to actually keep this way more concise. It's like the second time we've started this. Welcome to the Zodiac series for the Scorpio full moon. I wanted to keep these super concise. I feel like it's a treat. I feel like this must be the truth for the sign right now, because we have I feel like the access, like the space that this sign is in right now, this is just a pre-eternal message. It's like you're in a space right now that is like barricaded from certain vibes that are unable to get in, and perhaps there are things that are on the other side of a spiritually led boundary that are trying to get your attention to pull you back out of the focus, because what I believe this sign is doing is supposed to be extremely valuable. In fact, you're at an untouchable place, so like darker frequencies that want to stop this amount of light from grounding through your vessel, I feel like are trying to get you to bring your attention to things that you have already not only just put a boundary up for, but like have put yourself in, like you're on the inside of the boundary. You're not at the boundary like policing. You're like, put the boundary up, build that fucking barrier, and because I want to be safe to be in what's going on. So big pre-message. I usually don't start readings just like saying that, but like again, right now, like my dog in the situation right now is like on the barricade of like the kitchen barricade that's like beneath, you can't even see it here, 111. And I just felt like that was an experience, because we just sat down and we like took care of them, be like, okay, we're about to work, because we took like a full work day today. Obviously you have to do all 12 zodiac signs. So I feel like that's a huge pre-message, where it's like there may be a lot of noise that the noise actually only feeds off your attention. So also like in the same breath that like I was thinking I needed to be overly attentive. I think that that's like a survival trauma response for me, which is like over emoting, over reading, over perceiving other energies, and like being super sensitive and attentive to those things, because I was forced to like carry so much. That I feel like right now what Spirit was saying is like actually like all the noise is like so basically when we're like isolating abusers and isolating abuse and the source of it, there's going to be all this residual like noise that's made just because like these people have a habitual use, they're habitually used to like getting away with this. So it's going to be like when you pull back your energy for whatever sign I'm reading for, I just feel like these abusive energies are still going to kind of play out. They're like, oh, because they like haven't caught up that like everyone's onto them, that like you're the problem. And in fact that the universe is just giving us a shit ton of like concrete evidence, like concretized evidence under this Scorpio full moon that again we're recording right now, because the moon is like rising as I do these messages, which I'm thrilled about. So anyways, I just feel like if you actually also realize that like the reason I put the boundary up and the reason I've been following my intuition and keeping sort of just taking everything that's being done with these energies with a grain of salt, the reason I've been doing that is because now I'm at this place where I'm actually in a better environment based on the boundaries that are put up, because it's been more filtered to kind of sort of curate your current vibe, and not every vibe you've ever been, but the vibe that you're currently on. And so I feel like now that you have that evidence, kind of like my dog, where it's just like I had to, at some point too, for this sign, it kind of gives Libra energy, where it's like at some point too though, you do have to stop like being overly attentive to the energy, because at some point you are free to just be in what you're doing, and that will just die out and mute. Like the energy and the loudness of it will just actually like come to its own conclusion, because your attention has been removed from it. So pre-message for this sign, again, I have 12 zodiac signs here. You guys are the first up. Thank you for bringing us into the Scorpio full moon. I'm so glad to be here. Like I said, we are just under like once in a lifetime breakthrough energy, and that's why I felt like it was so important for me to give at this time, because what the fuck, like the energy's updated. We need new shit. My shit is timeless, absolutely, and anything that I have can really like continue to be used, but at the same time I have a job, so why not do it? Okay, so anyways, our first sign under the Scorpio full moon, I feel like you just want to do, let's see, who's our first sign? Who the fuck is this? Oh my god, because that message was for you. Holy shit, Leo. Holy shit, Leo. Just so you can see that this, who's first up. Leo. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Leo, is just, like I said, I want to kind of keep these concise. I'm going to do an overview message for you. I'll do an overview at the top of the reading and a final overview ending message with Oracle from the Crystal Resonance, and then we'll do your regular Celtic situation with the Aquarian Tarot. Leo, how are we feeling? That's how I feel, Leo. I feel like some of that, again, that message was definitely for you, where it's like you already put the boundary in place. You already, you know what I mean? And so the noise will like actually residually but you really just have to take all of your attention now, just put it in the thing that you fought so hard to have. And so, yeah, that's it. Like you don't have to stay at the boundary anymore, Leo. Oh my God. Okay, let's do one, because I feel like it's such a pre-message. I'll tell you everything that's coming out, but I just want to make sure we get one. Okay. Leo, it's point blank period clear for you with the Scorpio full moon. the right use of your will at this, Leo has the karma available, like the good karma. God wants Leo to be seen in a liberated, healthy, vital, successful, abundant, fully empowered form. That is what God wants the karma to be for Leo at this time. The determinant of that is going to be your divine will. Point blank, period. Are you willing your actions, your embodiment of yourself into the desired outcome of prosperity that you actually want? Because I feel like regardless of the Leo collective's vibrational resonance at this time, again, whether you're vibrating very low and you're in sort of these more narcissistic paradigms, more of these first dimensional paradigms where, you know, your sense of self is derived from something outside, or whether you're in a very high vibrational space as a Leo and you're really sourcing and carrying our collective energy forward, like your health actually like stems to the health of us all. Thank God you're good, right? Regardless of where you are as a Leo, I have a feeling that this correlation under this moon right now, as I'm saying this, as this reading is getting to you, when it gets to your ears, I'm telling you, I'm about to drop this shit direct. You have been shown in plain sight through, it can become through any duality. Like this can be shown to you through a fictitious situation. It can also be revealed to you through divine alignment, miracle situations as well. Regardless of polarity, you are aware now, Leo, that my will and how I use it directly correlates with how much prosperity I actually have. Because I'm also getting for a lot of Leos, right? Because also it's so funny, like so my dog right now, I was gonna be super willing to like go and like let her out just to be attentive to like if she actually needs the bathroom, right? But we did just go out like maybe an hour ago to the bathroom, and the issue was when she was out there, like we're also guests, we're not her actual parents, we're her aunt and uncle, and so but my child nonetheless, you know, I mother these babies, but. Again, the problem was when we went out the first time, the issue, she didn't get disciplined for it, but she knows she has a guest watching her and being attentive to her while her parents are like away. And so, you know, we are doing so much and we are so much, you know, when aunt and uncle are in town, right? It's like the type of thing, this is all allegorical to your energy, but like when your aunt and uncle are in town, like you don't have to play by the rules of like mommy and daddy, like, you know what I mean? They're so much more lenient and there's so much more, they have much more free time because they're just visiting, these kinds of things, right? So she's outside. However, they know not to do proper with the dogs and stuff. Let me tell you something about our dogs. These are some backwood mountain. These are outdoor dogs. These are farm dogs. You know what I mean? These are some real hill country ass animals. So they don't do they don't do proper. They come proper with the hunter mentality. You know, with the vibe check. So at the fence, it's always been like that. Like my family, like we really curate like the souls of animals that are gangsters at the fence. Like if it's one thing, you know, there will be one king of this hill. Like, and so she was outside and she misused her will because her recall was really struggling. It's like Darcy, like she's still a puppy, so recall is whatever. But we're like, Darcy, you need to come inside. She was not coming inside. And mind you, I can't pick these dogs up. They weigh more than me. I'm not their daddy. Like I can't just like, you know, usually their parents come and like can maneuver them in a certain way, but she was not coming back inside. And she was also looking like she was ready to be aggressive at the fence. Because again, this is a shared fence to the neighbors on the other side, right? And so I feel like when she made that choice, and I listened to this, it hurt Dennis and I, because it was like, you know, Darcy, we want to let you have fun. We let you go outside and do all the fun things. Like, you know, there's like, it's like when you're an aunt and uncle in town, we can have pizza for dinner and breakfast. You know, it's like we're letting them have so much freedom and do things, you know, because they're under our care, that it just felt like, dude, misusing us and not being respectful and not listening to us really affected us, you know? And I feel like this is the Leo energy where it's like, Leo, you are Darcy, the dog in this situation, right? Where it was like, spirit has been giving to you because you're forgetting that the source is giving to you because, right, of your value, because of how much you do. And when you, Leo, are in a place of not staying grounded in your own sense of value, sometimes you can misplace the right use of your will, you know? And in fact, instead of when something that's for you is like, all right, like, come back to me. Like, it's time to like, and you're like, nah, disobedience, right? Like, that's what I feel like the root of this is for Leo. It's like this Scorpio woman is airing out your disobedience here. Whether you have had moments where you were disobedient and it like took some prosperity away immediately, or you're like newly under this moon realizing like my disobedience is the reason I don't have certain things that I actually really needed. That is the Leo message right now, because Darcy was disobedient and it really affected us. It was like scary because like again, when the dogs come out, good luck to you. Like it's actually kind of dangerous. And so for us, we're just never trying to escalate that, you know, because like I can't always guarantee that the neighbors are going to check that the coast is clear before they let their dogs out, right? And it's mutual. It's all the dogs that do it. It's not one thing. It's like the fence culture around these parts. But again, I feel like when she did that, it affected just now before I started this reading. I had to restart it for like after 30 seconds because it was like, you know, she was like, oh, aunt and uncle, like, can I go back outside? And I wasn't averse to it. I'm like, I'm fine to do the work to like get you back in the backyard to have fun. However, I had to connect with her. I was like, you know, Darcy, like, dude, it really affected me that, like, I give you so much respect and so much freedom, and I'm always attentive to your needs. I'm always there for you. I really want to create this space where, like, I can treat you sovereignly. If you want to go outside, I don't give a fuck, right? But then you were disobedient. You know, you had me out here proper looking like a shitty, you know, caretaker. Because you're at the fence not listening. They hear me screaming, Darcy, 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 you're not coming back. How are we supposed to do this? And I'm going to be honest with you, Leo. I feel like you know, that is the theme that's coming up right now. Right? Scorpio message talked about how clean the water stays. And I just kind of feel like Leo is out here. Dare I say littering is what I just heard Spirit say? Littering? Littering in your own garden is what I'm hearing, bro. I'm not talking just like, maybe you bitches are on the highway really chucking shit you shouldn't be chucking, but I mean, like, don't fucking litter. Don't throw shit in the water, bro. Huh? Because whatever water you desecrate, Leo, you need to understand, that is the water you drink from. Ooh. That's the water that will be cleaning your body. You get what I'm saying? So I think Leo's learning that this sun energy, this solar energy, powers the earth in this way. You're understanding your role right now in the cosmos. To be the central sun of our universe, Leo, yeah, everyone's prosperity is linked to you. No more of this fucking, I'm going to be disobedient because I have low self-esteem and I don't, like, you just look so, you just look unaware. Because I just feel like it was like, as soon as Spirit gave Leo an inch, Leo went a mile. Right? And that's how I felt with the dog, right? Before I came on here and I didn't know whose sign it was and I was like trying to focus, but I just felt like I needed to get that out 10 minutes, like that message of like, you know, Leo, like, don't let somebody be giving you like a privilege, right? Don't let the universe be giving you favor. And then as soon as you get the favor, you start being disobedient because you work so hard to get the favor. Nobody just gets that shit off the top like you do, Leo. It's because of how hard you work. And I just have a feeling like Leo is decimating their own reputation of abundance and success. Because you work all this to build up this fucking reputation of yourself as an actual person of integrity. And then as soon as you get the thing you prayed for years with, right? That your actions, your words, your thoughts, they had to align for, you become something you're not. That was never the point. That was never why Spirit rewarded you. And you see how you put your creator in a position where it's like, I don't want to not reward you because when you do things, but like, bro, he just saw what you just did. Oh, Spirit, let's get your reading out. Yep. Okay. That's exactly what I thought. Leo is sitting here. And I think Leo, over the course of this moon, is literally like, wait. I'm sitting here hanging, crucified, under my whole shit. And I need to have this enlightenment. I need to reconnect with this. Because I think, you know, my first document, if you don't know anything about me, I'm also a director. And my first directorial debut is a 7-part plus a bonus, 8-part documentary feature, full-length features, called Batshit Crazy. And long story short, it is basically at a high view telling a story of abuse through the lens of love. It's autoethnographic, it's documentarian, it's for artists, it's for lovers, it's happening live in Austin, Texas. It's a universal, it's major, right? But it's the thing that like made me big enough to be able to do what I do now in all these other capacities as well, right? So, but the focus of Batshit Crazy is talking about the crucifixion coronation pipeline. And really I should say the coin, because it's a one whole coin. And I think one thing I can tell Leo is, I think Leo is learning this, unfortunately, is that crucifixion is just one knock away as soon as you get coronated. Because I feel like Spirit was really testing Leo, specifically, I would just say let's say like the last 6 month cycle, right? Because we're looking at a lunar cycle. But specifically, if you want to look last 6 months or even just the last 2 weeks since the new moon, right? Since I'm doing a full moon message, if you look at the fucking new moon that you're in the cycle of whenever you're watching this, I feel like Leo came into the coronation, came into the success. Leo is abundant. Leo did it. You're it. And I think as soon as that came in, as soon as that big crowning moment came in, Leo immediately is going to be dealing with crucifixion. Yeah. Yeah. Because we're talking about how we do, like what our integrity is when we have it all. Because I think Leo is so used to, like, Leo is the fight. Leo, they're showing me, on field day in elementary school when it's like, it's time to do like a tug of war between like classes. So it's like a whole class of 5th graders are like pulling the rope. And that's Leo. The tugging of war, like the heart and the grit it takes to like try to get yours. That's Leo. So you guys love the like staying power it takes to be like the strongest bitch in the room, right? So I just feel like when you get to these moments of coronation, I think you're now looking at the coronation and I think Leo's a little bit stunned, like, wait, what the fuck? I thought I was just coronated. Why am I immediately crucified? Because for someone like me, I'm across the ecliptic from you, so I just went through the crucifixion, right? And just as fast as there was a crucifixion, there was immediately a resurrection. So it was like, I just went through like a heavy crucifixion. I was like, damn, that fast, I'm already like exonerated and free. So I just want you to know that whether you're high vibrational or low vibrational, you may already have internalized this and succeeded through this. But you also may be someone that is learning this under the Scorpio. It would be likely because this moon is ready to like fucking blow it up. It's not light understanding. It's not light truth. It's just truth detonating. So I think Leo isn't used to being crucified. I don't think Leo understands that the coronation, if you are begging for something like that, if you're begging for people to see your royalty, you will also be asked to rule when you are the most hated. You're going to be asked to hold the whole expression of that. Right? Because people have to be able to actually trust you. How do you actually trust somebody? You need to see them for light and dark. If you've only seen an aspect of someone and you don't see the whole spectrum, no one can trust you. So this public crucifixion, Leo, for you, that I don't think you saw coming, and that I think you think like, wait, but I was just coronated. Like, I feel like there's almost like, I feel like Leo said they had some sort of immunity, but like, don't forget, Leo, you cannot forget the integrity that is embedded in your will. Because I think when we get everything we've ever wanted, or we start having access to the things we want, like Leo, if Leo starts moving from like inauthenticity, you know what I mean? If our Leos are like, because you're the heartbeat, you're on the stage, you're the fucking king of the jungle. And I just feel like when that starts not being in the integrity of like what role you play, and you start doing things that are out of integrity, out of your authenticity, I think it really ripples in the collective. And I feel like you see that. Like, I think Leo's also understanding the correlation between like through this cycles that you've been recently going through. You understand that when I'm not in integrity, suddenly everything around me starts to go into disarray. You actually have that much power, Leo. You do. We are sourcing our vitality from your energy. The condition of Leo placements is everything. And I just think that you don't understand that like the universe is finally not letting there be any mirrors anymore. Like, you can't go on in this negative habit because it's affecting your kids now. Like, and now you're seeing your kids be like spun off, you know what I mean? Or like, it's affecting your art. It's affecting your business. It's like you're now, Leos are seeing like, oh shit, when I do this, it's endemic. Like, I also feel like the apocalypse paradigm, like, right? I think a lot of people who like sit at that axis, we made a fucking 11 a.m. cocky also.
11 a.m. Living right.
Because it's Scorpio full moon. And I do what I want with the libations. But I think you're realizing that, Leo. Like, I think you were like kind of like, because I think this is about Leo understanding itself fully, understanding just how much power, motherfucking lion power, is fueling your role in this world. And I think, Leo, you might have even just been surprised, like, oh, I didn't even think that shit was related to me. I didn't think when I was having like messy toxic habits that it was reverberating in something that I thought was disconnected. No, it is. We're all suffering. Yeah, Leo. Yeah, you like I said, Leo's got the hardest. Y'all can't even really flop for real. That's why God gives you so much favor, because like we can't really have Leos out here making mistakes. We can't. But we can. Leo, you know that. Can you really show up as anything other than perfect? Let's be real. No, you can't. That's why God always makes sure shit's good for you. That's why God always makes sure bitches are good around you, and that, you know what I mean? Because if the sun is like having problems functioning, what the fuck are we finna do? You know what I mean? So again, I feel like this is the end of also a self-crucifixion cycle for you, Leo. Like, just to bring it right back up, I just think all of that information was so needed for you. at this time, I think we're done. You know what I mean? I think you went through the crucifixion. I think it ended what it ended. I think you understand now what you actually do run, like what your energy flows to. I think that was what Leo was trying to understand. You now understand the Aquarian waves that like flow off of you as you go through life. When you are the source and you're sending out this energy, now all this stuff reverberates and you start getting all this resonance. Because I think, Leo, like I said, when you're just this big amorous ball of fucking attractive energy, sunlight energy, you got all this shit around you that maybe you don't even have the time because your purpose is so big to decode. But you need to understand, like, you Leo's got to have the best energetic health. If anything, we all need to have solid shit. But Leo, you lead. You know what I mean? The L is for leader. You know what I mean? What the fuck was that song? Oh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader. Where did that song got buried into the ether? What the fuck? A cheerleader. She is always right there when I need her. That's how he did that.
That's how he got buried in the fucking.
Where did that song got buried? I don't even know what year that's from. It's like Reese, right?
No, I feel like that felt like middle school or something, high school or something.
You said middle school. It's not a middle school.
That was a long ass time ago.
Cheerleader. I don't know what that song.
Maybe not, but
whatever. That's the spirit message right now, right?
I feel like it was giving like.
Because I think also Leo might be being brought to this awareness that like of who also is actually a cheerleader in your life. It would be the people that no matter how crunk and crazy this cycle that you just ended really was for you. Because I'll be honest, Leo. I think Leos were being given a cycle where you could be in your shadow, where you could be low vibrational. When you can always be anything, like nobody's actually policing your shit. But it's just that like when you actually are showing up, not like Leo needed to see like, can I just be like my worst and my best? Can I be any of those things? And I think you're also realizing like who's an ace with you, because like when you're flopping and when you're really on your shit, that's when you want people who can accept and celebrate and still be your cheerleader through all of that, you know? And I feel like you've exactly received that. I think it, hey, listen, let's keep pushing. Oh my God. Okay, so then I'll say it. I also think there was a deceptive energy because I was just talking about how I'm the Aquarius ecliptic. Like I would be the cheerleader for Leo in terms of like sisters, opposites. And as I said this, I feel like you were going through a tough cycle and the Aquarian energy was like your biggest cheerleader. Like they were never going to lie to you. And I think that there may have been a way where like you didn't realize that like the value of your real tribe. Like, you know, if you're an artist who like breaks into like mainstream success, let's say, but you also started with like a pretty underground, like real ass, like following of like tight knit community. And now it's expanding because you're like expanding and there's more outreach with your energy. This is like the people, this is like the artist who like was propped up by real life, by real people, real investments, real whatever in a smaller scale. And then the artist, let's say, goes to a much more mainstream like thing. And then everybody's like, oh yeah, so you have all these new people that didn't really follow your journey, but they still support it. They still love what you're doing. They just tapped in at a different point in your journey. And I feel like this is when you become inauthentic to what you originally built, what originally made you a star, Leo. I'm serious. I'm getting the vibration of a few Leos in this past cycle who was like, I don't want to say switched up on the team, but I think we can always get caught up in that better is better. Like there's always going to be better. Like I could upgrade people type of thing. Like I feel like I know that. Like a lot of Leo energy has been dealing with me. Like, you know, I think we need to remeditate on Beyonce's irreplaceable. Like irreplaceable. You know, like you need to like realize like some things are irreplaceable. Like I think sometimes too, because Leo is going to be on this trajectory of like seismic rise, like, you know, big. If it was humble in the beginning, there's never going to be anything humble about a Leo's existence. And so I feel like when we start getting that way, I think sometimes we can start thinking about the company we kept before as like less than, as the people that like we were associating with before, the people who've really been like there for us to help us build it. We can start categorizing and quantifying like people's value. And I think that's a low vibrational Leo thing, which is like, you're not worth my time. You're not worth my time. When it's like, we're all humans of equal value to this planet. So I feel like that might be the thing that Leo was being given the grace by the universe to like go through and experience. But I just have a feeling that like this star energy is your authenticity. And I'm just getting this deeper message where it was like, you were lying on your authenticity. Like the thing, I think Leo very much knows what actually makes it a star, and all this other blase bullshit. is really for the birds. It doesn't really actually like matter, is what I'm hearing. Because it's not actually what makes you the star, right? Because it's not the response to the applause that makes a star a star. A star is what it is. You know what I mean? And so when you are a star in the sky, which is what you are, you're the star of our solar system, right? You are the star of our solar system. That's what Aquarius says. Like Leo is the star in our, like Aquarius represents stars, like what a star is, but Leo is the star that's in our shit. That's why we're connected, you know? And I think a lot of the Aquarian energy might have been trying to tell you that, which is like, my nigga, you're like, there are stars out in the world, but in this universe, you're the star. And I think Leo's had a hard time, like, owning that, because I think that, like, most Leos, if you have Leo placements, you're going to be initiated through humility. Like, you should be blessed. You should tone it down. They're going to try to beat out your pride of yourself, your pride and your healthy self-esteem. And so all of you Leos have that in common, where it's like you had a lot of negative reinforcement that you didn't want to always, you know. But like I said, I'm really excited for Leo to get to this place where, like, we're not so, like, timid. Like I said, I love a Leo with their fucking shadow integrator. Are you kidding me? I used to have some proper best friends with integrated Leo placements, integrated shadow Leo placements. You know what I mean? And me and the guys used to do shit crazy just because I love the way that frequency, like, it's just better that way. It's actually your authentic truth to be a lot. To be a big ball of fucking energy. You know what I mean? Because if the sun isn't actually nothing but a giant burning ball of energy, then it could not sustain every corner and inch of this earth that it does. So I feel like when that Scorpio full moon releases at the thresholds and allows you to just be that which you are, you don't have to, like, covet or steal from yourself to be the star. This is what I'm saying. There's no more of, like, I'm a star, but I'm trying not to take up as much space as I should. Because it actually ends up just coming across as, like, crass anyways. It kind of just ends up coming across as, like, I feel like that's what Leo's responding to. It was kind of like a damned if I do, damned if I don't situation with inauthenticity with a Leo. You just don't want to go there. Because you're going to look like a buffoon more than anyone else in the zodiac. When it's like, oh, I'm trying to tame, or I'm trying to be dishonest about how aware I am that I am what I am. You know, because I think, again, like, I think through what Leo does, they were trying to prove that they're the star. But, like, to a lot of us awakened people, it's like, baby, you can only do all that because you're a star. But I think you're also really uncomfortable with, instead of doing the thing, just being the star. And I feel like that's what I feel like Leo is waking up to. Is this no more doing the thing, it's just being the thing. Right? Because this is what's manifesting. Yeah, Leo, this is manifesting. I think you made cuts to things because you were doing too much. It's what I'm seeing. You, like, when Darcy the dog was trying to start a war at the fence, now she's like, she doesn't have freedom right now. She's got to stay in it's the living room, but she's got to stay in the living room right now. She doesn't have the freedom. You lost the freedom. When you start cutting off things just because you can, copping an attitude, like losing your morals, losing your real values that you had before there was an external response, or before maybe the universe outside of you was reverberating the truth of who you were. I think you cut something, Leo, that you were not supposed to cut. And it actually just directly put you, like, you're, like, even, like, and I think this is when the universe will do you proper. It'll, like, actually, like, minimize your reach. It'll, like, actually, like, you can't make moves now. So, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like I said, because this is a privilege God gave you. Like, there are things, like, elements to your story, people in your story, places, institutions in your story that really are the ones who identified your star. And I think once you started to become a bigger scale star, you know, you might have started unjustly holding criticisms like you were never enough, you were the source of why I was held back, rather than taking the enlightened view, which is like, I only went as fast as my soul. Like, if I was someone who's meant for fame, I think a lot of famous people feel that way, right? Especially, let's say, like, if you were like, I used to live in my car, I used to work at Taco Bell, and now I'm like 62-time Grammy winner, right? Let's just say some shit like that, right? When you go to that, most people feel like, I always knew it was stupid that I was working at fucking Taco Bell. But then they get ungrounded, like it's Taco Bell's fault that you were there. Like, Taco Bell actually just gave you employment. Like, Taco Bell actually just also saw your star, said, I can put you on the roster, I can even hold you down. And yes, you're doing bigger things now than the T-Bell. But at the end of the day, it isn't because you have that resentment of like, I always knew. You guys are holding me back. I think Leo did that. I think Leo kind of took out some of their, like, aggression on their previous cycle as if it wasn't their own karma. Like, nothing that's simulated in any of our lives is anything outside of just like our karmic blueprint. Like, if you're born into poverty and that's not like your soul's origin, guess what? That's just karma. You know what I mean? And so you should be able to just take accountability that I had to go through that because of how I was really acting proper in previous lifetimes, get through it, and now I can be where I am. But if you have someone to blame, because I feel like this was Leo going back. Leo, the revenge archetype, let's stop that today. Let's stop that with the Scorpio. There's no one to get back at. This is also a Leo coming into like the world stage. Like everyone in the community sees you as a star. This is that. From every scale, right? Leo placements are like the star of their world. And I just think that as soon as they got that, they were like, this is like the person that's like the first thing they do when they make $1 billion is like go and like murk some niggas from their past instead of like handling the long-term needs that they've never had met because of systemic whatever. That was that was stopping them from like freely flowing in their energy. So let this be a lesson to you, Leo. When you get recognition, you know, when the world catches up to what the prophecy of your life really is, let's never do some shit like this again, where the first thing we're going to do is start like turning, like you're going beyond regulator. This is the persecutor. This is the this is the person that's like guillotine, electric chair. Like you were the one who's like, I'm down to chop their head off. And that's valid because you're saying that derived from your experience with that thing. But like, you have to understand, though, that if you've been removed from a situation that you don't feel like you had justice for, and then you're actually getting stuck, because I think that's the thing, Leo, you don't think the star, Leos don't think karma is indiscriminately repaid. So, like, Leos think that, like, if someone didn't apologize to me, that's unfinished, and I haven't gotten the karma. Like, Leos are the type to be like, I need to get the karma from you. You need to pay me for what, like, if someone does something to you or something happens to you that's unjust, you won't accept it from other people. You won't accept that abundance can come to you from all types of ways to repay the debts. You know, this is Leo being like, now that I have some resources behind me, I'm about to go take my Leo fucking roar out on everyone who owes me something. And I think you just use your spotlight moment to do that. And I don't know, under the Scorpio full moon, I think there's just like a very reflective experience happening. Because again, in the recent past, I feel as though there was such a big need for you to to walk away, to realize that even if you were the one filling up the cups, like your value indiscriminately is like, you don't need to take this and use your new resources to like fucking kill old demons that are already, this is a part of that message of the Scorpio message was like, you know, like some things you don't have to work out, like the universe is working out for you. And I think, again, Leo, you have such a strong sourcing energy yourself, which is admirable. But at the same time, there are always going to be the things that are just not your job. It's the universe's job. So that was our recent past, you know. Yeah. Why, Leo? Because the whole point was that the universe is actually just trying to surprise you with the 10 of Cups. Like, you're just like, the universe was just trying to give you everything you've ever wanted without you having to do so much doing, right? Just being you. This is a cycle for you, Leo, a time in your life, Leo, that like, you have the 10 of Cups and you can just be yourself for it. You don't have to go do the fucking puppeteer. You don't have to be a performer. You are just Leo. That's why it comes to you. And I think, you know, it's hard for us to discern that that's what God wants, that God just wants us to live abundantly and it's not demonic. And then we don't have to do this. We don't have to fight back at stuff that was against, because that stuff's over. It's like in your past. It's not stuff that you need to take your new recognition and create a persona of like attacking that acutely. The injustices, because they've already been rebalanced. If you're receiving your next step, the debts have been paid. Trust me on this. If your shit has not been, like if cycle's not complete, you're not getting the new cycle. You're not, you know what I mean? If you haven't actually integrated the learning of a past cycle, you're not getting the new one. But I just feel like in the near future, Leo, 6-6, huge clarity on this is such a soulmate communal energy, realistically, that I feel like for Leo, like I feel like you genuinely are gonna return back to that core authenticity, the core people who really saw you for you, who you know that like, man, when you used to just come in the coffee shop as a kid, man, we always could tell there was something about you, and not discarding that and actually realize, because I think you've tasted it. They're showing me, I was listening to some some video clip of like this artist who was talking about how quickly the life of like luxury and fame, like, you know, how grounded you need to be to take that in, because you know, at some point you're going to acclimate to fame, and then you're going to just, it's not going to feel as special as when your guys got suited up and you guys got to do something proper for the first time, you know? And I feel that way, Leo. I feel like Leos are also in this place of like, they're really seasoned with like blessings and abundance. So like I said, you guys are so ahead of the collective in so many ways. Because many of us, like myself, some of us have never even touched the good life, you know, the life where it's just abundant, where you actually are now just in charge of managing abundance. You're not like begging for it, you know? And so because you actually, like, unlike a lot of people in the zodiac, have like been having certain resources, been having certain power, been having certain star energy in you that's gotten you things, you know, you're on a different chapter, which is like, how do you stay grounded and grateful for that? You know, how does it not become entitled? Because I think that a lot of this message has to do with sort of like an entitlement that can grow over time. And like I said, it's kind of like, you know, when we, like my generation, we were like watching and knowing social media is going to have an impact on us. And we just kind of had to wait and watch and see how it was going to, because we already brought it into form. So we all kind of had to surrender to that. And I feel like it's kind of like that, like, you know, indubitably this star energy that you carry on your the prophetic part of your life is going to inevitably come with all of these things. And I think it's just a matter of like not getting disillusioned or being just kind of like, damn, I don't want to be this Leo that gets all this luxury in life and all this blessing in life, and then I become somebody, like, it's kind of like, Leo, I think you were doing this shit, you were like Five of Swordsing people because you kind of wanted, like, you know how the hunger got you some of the, made you the best art, made you the best like decisions in life, like some of that hunger for life, some of the injustices, some of the like hardships actually made it like grounded, like some of that pain. Like my brother said yesterday, he like he had a hand injury yesterday too. Aries had a hand injury yesterday, and he was talking about, like, I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And he was like, dude, sometimes it's good to feel pain. And I feel like Leo's in that energy where it's like, damn, like sometimes we go and attract like these painful situations because of how much you know you need that adversity to like grow your heart, you know, space and your capacity. And so when we get into this place where we're rebalancing at a physical level, like because this is Leo rectifying. Leo, I believe, is also going to come in and rectify and give physically to balance out the flowers that should have been given. Because I think, like I said, Leo, it isn't just about giving flowers to like things outside of yourself, like things that actually like see you though, the authenticity of you, not the thing that's successful, but the actual you know, where these things, these people, these connections, they didn't care whether you were successful or not. They didn't. They're thrilled that you are because they love you, and that your success means that you're like in a solid energy. But they were going to give you your flowers regardless. They were always giving to you an equal give and take. I feel like that's what we're going back to under this whole, that's what you're going forward within, you know, this kind of awareness of like, I can just stay. And I think Leo's going to put up some strong boundaries like I had to with my dog, so that you can stay smelling the roses with the team that really means the most to you. Because like I said, I think Leo was trying to be deceitful and had a lot of like chips on their shoulder about like whether the Knight of Pentacles was actually coming to them. Like, I think Leo also is kind of like the placement that's like, whenever someone else is having a new come up, because you're like the seasoned alumni, you're like the veteran, you're like disillusioned. So like when people, you don't realize when you're around people who are doing something for the first time and they're like, oh my god, I'm like super ambitious, super hopeful, I hope this like manifestation comes in. Leo's like, and they giving that kind of like, I don't believe it. I've been around here, I've never seen it change. Like that kind of frequency on top of just a Knight of Pentacles that's just trying to come in. We don't need to put that kind of negative reinforcement out either, Leo. Right? Because I think there's something that was outside of you that you did not see coming. I think you didn't and again, that's what I mean. Leo, again, I really want to hold space, but like there's no one that is beneath you. There, you know what I mean? No matter what role you play, you're so fortunate to have Leo energy, but everyone's fortunate for any zodiacal makeup they have. They just are going to play a different role. But just because we're not Leo, like, doesn't mean that like other people couldn't be like way ahead of you in terms of your spiritual truth. Because no shade, no tea. I think Leos have got a lot of that favor third dimensionally. But I think a lot of Leo energy have a lot of spiritual growth to do. And I think they're getting surprised that there are, in terms of spirit, there are people that got you plumb. Your Two of Swords, which is a low-level minor arcana. Like, you're still working on the discerning situation. There are guys who are kings. In terms of, like, baby, not only, we're not discerning, baby. No, this is my kingdom. You're my truth, my spirit. You know what I mean? And I think that this is also, like, that could be indiscriminate. That person could, their life could look like anything. Being spiritually initiated, being spiritually royal, you could have any type of karma. So I think when Leo's always like relying on like, I need to see if I see that Leo vitality in you, and maybe like spiritually strong people don't present like you. And I'm just getting that, you know, you are withholding investments or like being deceptive with your investment because you're being asked to invest in things that might have bigger spiritual truth than you do. embodiment of spiritual truth than you have done at this time. Yeah? In the fear space, this is also Leo being scared that to let spirit bring them a new beginning. I think Leo is so used to being that sort of like child performer, like always having to fucking turn it on, be ready and go. You know what I mean? That it's hard to believe and trust that the universe is gonna do it for you when you don't do that. But that's the fears that the Scorpio full moon is bringing up to you. Because I think Leo's scared to think that like all that control I was trying to have in my last cycle, and in the end, spirit's just gonna be the one to like move me forward without my control. Like spirit's determining what my new start is. And again, that ego. But Leo, let's just turn it right back up. I just had a huge heart chakra awakening. It just like started, my heart's like pounding. King of Pentacles. This is you, Leo. This is truly you. The devil, the King of Pentacles. Straight up. Straight up, my God. Straight up. The devil, the King of Pentacles. I feel like, Leo, a huge integration of your shadow. Massive integration of the shadow aspects of self. Are going to help materialize the type of wealth you really want to command. So no more Leo just being the performer that's well paid but has to still play that role. If you want to have that big kingdom where you can kind of call the shots and decide what's happening, what is hidden in facing your biggest fears and talking about your attachments, not judging yourself. It doesn't matter that you have devil energy present in your life. You need to know why you have devil energy, what are you employing the devil in your life to do, and for what reason, and finish the karma with it. Because I believe that journey for you, Leo, is going to help you completely with understanding this archetype. So thank you for bringing in the Scorpio full moon for me, Leo. Like, thank you for being with me at this point. Like I told you, I'm going to do one more. The right use of your will, right? We talked about this. We started saying the right use of your will affects your prosperity. So right now, I'm gonna ask you a final question, Leo. What is the value of this if it's drenched in devil attachment? Because, and this is about masculine power. Leo, this is about your masculine this is such a Leo-ass fucking reading. Your talents. Hey, do you really have to go to the bathroom? I feel like she's gotta go to the bathroom. Okay. So your talents, Leo, at this time are directly correlated with how you will your talents into being, but no more just relying on the fact that I bring talents to the table and I'm excused for every other way that I apply my will. No more also being like, I'm going to sever and sacrifice other people because the most important part of me is that I'm the performer, I'm the main. No, you're a whole person, light, dark, high, masculine. So you have to do the same work we have to do, regardless of the fact that you're the central sun of our universe, right? Regardless of the fact that you have this amorous ability spiritually to be Leo, right? You still have to, okay, we're coming now. You see what I'm saying? You still have to recognize that because one day you're going to, like Darcy will end it on this. One day you're going to really have to use the bathroom. And if you've been abusing your talents, if you've been abusing your cute little doggy face to get what you want and still be bad and disobedient, you may not get to pee right when you want to. So, this was for all the dogs. This one's for all my Leos, for all my felines, ironically. But Leo, get used to it. Yeah, you're the star. Yeah, everything's connected to your star energy. Welcome to the fucking world. I'm gonna go let this dog out. Have a blessed Scorpio full moon. I hope this message resonated for you, Leo. Big love.